Welcome to the Mike and Doug Show. I'm Doug. Hi, Mike.
Hey, Doug. How are you today?
Well, I'm thrilled because just trying to keep up with the miners, you dug again so deep that you came up in a Zambian emerald mine, which as soon as you popped up, there were a bunch of Rothschilds standing around. I mean, this is really getting to be quite a coincidence with you and those miners.
I know. It's crazy, isn't it?
Elon Musk's daddy, the emerald miner, who was aligned with the Rothschilds. They had so much money that he once made a statement to the public that the safe at home was so filled with money they couldn't close the door.
He claims, he gaslights and says that's not true.
I know very intelligent people who believe that Elon Musk really is a technological savior of our age who takes patents and gives them away for free to everyone. And everything's open AI. It's the name of one of his companies. And, he's going to put a Neuralink chip in his head, though it kills everything that they try doing it to. This is a guy we should trust, right?
Yep, that's gaslighting extraordinaire.
So what's the truth of the matter?
The first telltale sign there's something wrong with his story is that his Wikipedia is 96 pages long. And the Wikipedia gets so detailed. When you see that level of specificity in propaganda, you're onto something.
Everything is propaganda with him. Everything's a narrative. He failed in some of the best universities in America, and that he ended up always going to a CIA school and even failing at those. He's like Bill Gates, who we are supposed to believe is the greatest programmer in the universe. But Bill Gates, I don't think he can write a single line of code. And when you hear him speak, he obviously is extremely diminished in his IQ. Same thing with Elon Musk, same thing with Mark of the Zuckerbeast. Peter Thiel may have a little bit going on. Eric Schmidt was certainly a wicked and a very real person. He wasn't a cardboard cutout.
The list is long. So we see all these guys who centered around taking orders from bankers to make sure that the hijacking of the banking transaction systems were complete and they were moved into the internet. That's what we see, because that's when we came on the scene. When we were inventing what is now social media, I had actually rebuilt AT&T's email system. So now looking back, we saw how these guys were planning on taking control of all modern communication and the banking transactions, because one of the parts of Bell Labs that we competed against and won was also the group that was handling AT&T's electronic data interchange system, or EDI, which was basically methodization of online transactions, especially invoices and commercial transactions. What we can see now is their plan to take over the modern internet was hopelessly flawed in an approach called groupware. And that was in the 1990s. And I saw that. I said, we can do this better. I went underground. I hired my own programmers. I raised my own money. And we actually started working on how to do collaboration in a scaled way through the internet. Nobody in Microsoft or IBM or AT&T or Sun Microsystems or Lotus Notes was thinking that way. And so I think when we came out of the chute, they were shocked when we actually went and met with Professor James Chandler, who was their advisor. Little did we know at the time, but they were shocked that somebody had figured out how to do it a better way. And that's when they started scrambling, and that's when Peter Thiel came on. They recruited Zuckerberg, they recruited Musk, they recruited all these people to essentially figure out how to hijack social networking and make sure we never made a dime in the internet transaction world. But that Elon Musk was a part of that. He was a part of the PayPal mafia.
Absolutely. That's the electronic banking. Immediately, it led to the thought that, well, you just need to write a program, and then you have that subroutine, run that over and over and over again, and you are a billionaire and you go retire in the Fiji Islands. It's
you just shave off a little bit of the transaction. That is an ancient practice of the Babylonians that goes back, now we're seeing even more than 4,000 years old. But shaving off that little bit is what has created this global pagan religion that is called banking today.
And look at all the credit cards. Look at Musk's Open AI. Look at his his app that's supposed to be the universal app that can do everything for you, think for you. It can do whatever, tell you what to do. It'll also diagnose you. If you put the chip in your head, it'll diagnose your whole body and tell you if you're well or not. When you wake up in the morning, you can just ask the chip in your head how you're feeling. This is the kind of talk of, like, you all know Harari, right, of the World Economic Forum. When people start talking this transhuman nonsense, they're going to start talking about AI. There is artificial intelligence, but are there self-recognized, independent, self-creating, self-generating, self-modifying? No, there's none of that. Are there quantum computers? No, there never has been, probably never will be. These are the dreams of madmen. And then they become our idols. We have sports. Those are the guys we send out on the field to kill each other. And then we have superheroes up there on the silver screen. And then we have tech banking heroes, because they don't talk about the fact that those are nothing more than the representatives of the people who stole the patents. That would be Highlands Forum, DARPA, the U.S. Patent Service, and you know the whole name of it. And
U.S. Patent and Trademark Office.
And then CERCO. Patents are stolen by those who wish to militarize them. Vaccines that are now created for things that have yet to even exist, only found in a laboratory. We now have literally vaccines against them, and they are in fact bioweapons. So we are always told the opposite. And when Elon Musk comes along and tells you he's going to launch a missile to Mars and get there in the shortest time, he missed completely. So SpaceX, they took it out of his hands. Starlink, he has nothing to do with it. That military contract created a company that he may be the head of, but it doesn't mean he knows anything about it.
What we've seen is the same pattern in previous history with different industries. And if we go back to 1915 to 1920, we see the time when these Babylonian Radhanite merchant bankers wanted to consolidate to control telecommunications as wireless was just coming into its own. There were thousands of patent holders that had different inventions related to the technology that they wanted to consolidate into one voice of technical nature. And so they went out and got their cardboard cutout, otherwise known as Franklin Delano Roosevelt, who was the Deputy Secretary of the Navy at the time. And they got him to write up this plan. His plan was he ordered AT&T, Western Union, the United Fruit Company, which did telecommunications in South America, and Westinghouse to give all of the patents that they had related to telecommunication to a new company called Radio Corporation of America, RCA. Give those patents to them so that RCA could have the monopoly on communications, just as they were starting to implement the wireless aspect of the technology. And eventually RCA at the World's Fair announced that they were starting NBC when TV came in. So RCA was the progenitor of television for us. And then we move forward from there, and we see the monopoly was continually being pushed by our government, but they were under instruction from British Wireless. So British Wireless was driving the entire development of our modern telecommunications system. They thought they had to destroy any claims of patent holders, and that's what they did. And then when Franklin Delano Roosevelt became president, he then confiscated 50,000 access patents to make sure that they locked in this monopoly on communications and any other inventions that they wanted to steal. So there is our modern military industrial complex. So this is all a huge grifting system for the banks that plays American and world inventors for the fool. In my case, I had $20 million of investors' money, and I wanted a return. And I wasn't willing to say, oh, the federal courts are corrupt here and not protecting me, and I don't know why. Well, now we know why. These people are following a banker cult religion from Babylon. And what we've got to do as a culture is get past that and start recognizing the human creativity of these different inventions and stop allowing these thieves, these banker merchant cults to drive our lives by using their cash, and start doing things in a pluralistic way that allows competition and can stop a bad guy from being able to grab the monopoly.
Monopolies, central control by a few, always goes wrong.
Right.
Put it into a centralized control, someone wants to then take over control. So what we needed is what you tried to do with social media, which is to give everyone an open and free and secure platform, which is the opposite of what we have now. And Thank you so much, you and your miners, for digging all the way through the earth to find Elon Musk's emerald mines. It's one of the few things he hasn't bragged about. I'm sure after he sees this that he's going to have a really whopping story to tell us about the way that he found the mine and he invented the process for pulling those emeralds up. So please thank your miners, and please give them a day off now and then.